Marcus wiped away tears with the back of his cleaning glove as he stared at the empty apartment. His daughter's bedroom door stood ajar, revealing pink walls that would never again echo with her laughter. The medical bills sat stacked on the kitchen counter like tombstones, each one a reminder of how he'd fought, and lost, the battle to save his little girl's life. At 34, Marcus had become an expert in two things: mopping floors and swallowing grief. The towering glass edifice of Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals pierced the Seattle skyline like a crystal needle, its 43 floors housing some of the most brilliant minds in medical research. Marcus had been cleaning these halls for 3 years now, invisible to the white-coated scientists who rushed past him with their clipboards and urgent conversations about molecules and miracles. He preferred it that way. Anonymity was armor against pity, and pity was something he couldn't afford to carry alongside his sorrow. It was 11:47 p.m. when Marcus pushed his cart past the executive conference room on the 39th floor. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, he could see CEO Jonathan Whitfield still hunched over his laptop, a half-empty coffee cup cooling beside him. The man's silver hair caught the harsh fluorescent light as he rubbed his temples in frustration. Marcus had seen this scene countless times: another sleepless night for the pharmaceutical giant's leader, another crisis demanding his attention. Marcus began his routine, emptying wastebaskets and wiping down surfaces with mechanical precision. The work was meditative, each motion a small act of order imposed on chaos. As he approached the conference table, something made him pause. There, projected on the wall screen, was a molecular structure diagram that stopped his heart mid-beat. The formula was elegant in its complexity, a series of chemical bonds and atomic arrangements that would mean nothing to most people. But to Marcus, it was as familiar as his own reflection. He'd stared at that exact structure for countless hours 15 years ago, watching his father sketch it over and over in their garage-turned-laboratory, explaining how each element fit together like pieces of a cosmic puzzle. "That's my father's formula," Marcus whispered, the words escaping before he could stop them. Jonathan Whitfield's head snapped up, coffee cup freezing halfway to his lips. For a moment, the two men stared at each other across the vast mahogany table, the CEO in his $1,000 suit and the janitor in his rumpled uniform, separated by more than just social status. "Excuse me," Whitfield's voice carried the sharp edge of someone unaccustomed to interruption. Marcus's instinct was to apologize, to grab his cart and disappear into the anonymity of the service corridors. But something in his chest, maybe grief, maybe destiny, held him rooted to the spot. "The formula on your screen. My father developed it in 1995. Dr. Samuel Rivera." The coffee cup slipped from Whitfield's fingers, ceramic shattering against the floor in a shower of brown liquid and white fragments. The CEO's face had gone pale, his eyes wide with something between shock and disbelief. "Samuel Rivera. You're Samuel Rivera's son." Marcus nodded, his throat tight. "You knew him." Whitfield stood slowly, his legs unsteady. "Knew him, son. Your father's research saved my company. We've been trying to replicate his work for over a decade. His formula for targeted cancer therapy, it was revolutionary. We bought his patents from the university after." He stopped, his expression softening. "After the accident. I'm sorry for your loss." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. "Patents? What patents?" "Your father's research on selective cancer cell targeting. The university sold us the intellectual property rights in 2009. We've invested millions trying to complete his work." Whitfield moved around the table, glass crunching under his feet. "But we've been missing something crucial. The formula keeps breaking down in trials." Marcus felt the room spinning. His father had died in a car accident when Marcus was 19, just months before completing his doctoral thesis. The university had told Marcus there was nothing of value in his father's unfinished research, that his work on cancer therapy was too theoretical, too incomplete to matter. "He finished it," Marcus said quietly. "The formula. He completed it before he died." Whitfield's breath caught. "That's impossible. We have all his research notes, his computer files. He kept the final piece at home. In his journals." Marcus's voice grew stronger. He was paranoid about industrial espionage. Said the pharmaceutical companies would steal his work and price it out of reach for the families who needed it most. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. Here was Marcus, working night shifts to pay off medical bills from his daughter's cancer treatment, talking to the CEO of a company that had profited from his father's stolen genius. Whitfield was quiet for a long moment, processing the magnitude of what he was hearing. "Your daughter," he said finally. "The bills on your personnel file mention medical expenses. Cancer." Marcus nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. "And she, 3 months ago." The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken understanding. Finally, Whitfield spoke. "The missing piece of your father's formula, do you have it?" Marcus thought about the leather-bound journal tucked away in his apartment closet, filled with his father's careful handwriting. He'd kept it all these years as a memento, never imagining it contained anything of value. "I might, son, if you're right, if we can complete your father's work, we're talking about a breakthrough that could save millions of lives. The treatment your daughter needed, this formula could make it accessible, affordable." Marcus felt something crack open in his chest, not the familiar pain of loss, but something else. Something that might have been hope. "My father always said medicine should heal, not bankrupt." Whitfield nodded slowly. "Maybe it's time we honored that vision." 3 days later, Marcus sat in the same conference room, no longer wearing his janitor's uniform. The leather journal lay open on the table between them, its pages filled with formulas that would soon change everything. Whitfield had assembled his best researchers, but it was Marcus, armed with his father's notes and his own hard-earned chemistry degree, abandoned years ago for more practical concerns, who guided them through the breakthrough. The treatment that emerged would bear his father's name. More importantly, it would be priced at cost, ensuring that no family would face the choice between bankruptcy and their child's life. Marcus would head the foundation overseeing its distribution, finally fulfilling his father's dream of medicine that served humanity over profit. As he walked through the hospital where his daughter had spent her final days, Marcus carried with him the knowledge that her struggle had not been in vain. In the pediatric oncology ward, children who might have faced the same fate would instead have hope. Hope born from a janitor's grief, a father's forgotten genius, and the power of speaking truth to power. Sometimes the most profound changes begin with the quietest voices, in the darkest hours, when ordinary people find the courage to say what needs to be heard.